So it really looks bad when you're a chief nursing officer and you came from Emergency Nurses Association, less than a year ago, only really less than 6 months ago. And you come in, you don't have any psych experience, but you're the chief nursing officer. So you were placed there for a reason. And it was to try to insult the intelligence of your nurses. And see, I can't stand that shit. Don't play your games. Just don't insult people's intelligence. If you want to be a sellout to corporate, then at least have enough decency to tell people that. But don't assume that, that's why they want new nurses, because new nurses wouldn't recognize it. That their leadership is just a bunch of sellout nurses that in all honesty, with what they are doing, the place I'm at, and it's just, this is what's been like the track record. They shouldn't even be nurses because of how unsafe it is, let alone a leader. Yet this nurse leader goes to Washington, D.C. and then posts on her Twitter about how she's fighting for workplace violence against, so that to prevent workplace violence. Yet her ass is causing it. Because instead of her standing up to corporate like a nurse would do and say, no, I have integrity, I have dignity, I know what my profession calls me to do, and I don't do this to people. I mean, you shouldn't want to do what she's doing to people, and nobody should want to do this to patients and staff. Nobody. And so when you want to act like an idiot, and then, we need to have a town hall meeting and talk about all the problems. No, it won't go anywhere. It won't go anywhere. Because you came from the association level. And although I know that at all those nursing association levels, many of you members, you don't realize this because you haven't done the digging I've done over the past 4 years into all of these entities. But it is all tied to things that are not going to help your profession, ties to the nursing unions, but it ties to every state and federal nursing association. And again, it goes all the way to the UN. So in June 2024, American Nurses Association sent a letter to the Honorable Mike Johnson, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and Mitch McConnell, saying that they strongly opposed these certain resolutions and things that they had put in. And they said, we urge Congress not to enact these or any similar legislation that would overturn the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services for long-term care facilities that sets the minimum staffing standards for registered nurses. In addition, some of these measures would prohibit the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services or any of its sub-agencies from issuing similar regulations to addressing staffing concerns in the future. So you mean to tell me HHS and CMS should be addressing staffing issues? Well, they're not. They're not. In fact, where I'm at, it has a chief nursing officer that came from Emergency Nurses Association, as I've said. And yet she's just giving more and more patients while we have less and less staff. And then there's nobody they'll deny, no matter how dangerous, so they don't consider acuity. So a very unsafe chief nursing officer, and really a stupid one, because you mean to tell me she's not smart enough to know that you look like a fucking hypocrite when you turn around and post on your Twitter that you're fighting to get help so that you can prevent workplace violence. Yet when you're at home and you're being your chief nursing officer self, you're doing nothing but needling nurses and trying to insult their intelligence with your bullshit. I think that this is not going to go well for them, because this system's going to implode at places like where I'm at. And when it does, I think these chief nursing officers, they think, no, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm just playing the game. I'm really doing the bidding because I'm in with corporate, because corporate wants the globalized healthcare. And I'll do a whole nother video showing how all the merging of the hospitals and all of this was no good. But everybody thinks somehow all of these nursing associations stand with the nurses. No, they don't. I mean, because American Nurses Association has set the standard of care forever, and they have failed at all of their goals. They have. It's gotten worse. It's worse now than it's ever been. And now it just shows how corrupt you all are. So I think that there will be a time moving forward where there will be criminal charges placed on chief nursing officers that do things like this, that deliberately micromanage to the point where they're trying to cause stress, they're trying to cause harm, they don't care, they just say admit everybody. So there's no nursing judgment there, there's no let's think of safety and staffing, none. You just think you're going to get away with it. Well, I'm here to tell you that I don't think you will. I so much don't think you will that I think you should be worried that there'll be criminal charges put on your ass for negligence. Or there'll be some personal lawsuits, let's say. Because nobody has a right to do this to people. You don't have a right to do this to patients. You don't have a right to do this to staff. And yet you are nurses that have all these degrees and specialty certificates and post all this nice stuff about preventing workplace violence and mental health issues. Yet you're the very problem in these areas. You're causing the problems. You're directly putting patients at risk, most importantly. You have put patients in harm's way. Other patients have gone on to got hurt. Staff has. And then you don't know why people are leaving. You don't know why you can't retain staff. Yet you want to sit here and say in this bullshit that CMS somehow protects staffing levels or HHS. No, you're all on board with the same globalist agenda. Because if those entities did anything for staffing, I wouldn't be dealing with what I deal with. I mean, because it is an emergency. My chief nursing officer is from Emergency Nurses Association. And she was at high levels there. But you go on to talk about stakeholders in here, so that's all globalism. That goes to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. It's ugly when nurses want to talk about stakeholders. It just shows that they're a corporate sellout. And corporate will have to be dealt with too, because again, there's been people over the history at some of these places, your freestanding sites, where people have died. And you can blame that they always like to blame the immediate staff, but the people that you need to start looking to and that need to be held accountable is the administrative level, the chief nursing officer, and obviously the CEOs. When people are always dying or being hurt in their facilities, there comes a point where you can't be that stupid that you don't know you need more staff. You're doing it on purpose because that's how little you care. Like, I couldn't do what this chief nursing officer is doing. It just shows what a horrible nurse she is. But then she is from, a nursing association at the top, so I don't have any respect for any of them. So they clearly weren't happy because they want HHS and all of these entities because it's an arm for them to keep control over everything. It's a disgrace to our country, but it's not like these people care about America, okay? And then it goes on, for them to even talk about environment factors resulting in healthcare worker burnout, including workplace violence and mandatory overtime. This is all a result of you nursing associations. You sit there and you lie to your members. It's such a major personality disorder. It just is. We're one way to our members, or we're advocating and fighting for you, but behind closed doors, you're advocating for globalism with your corporate entities. Yeah. And the nursing union's doing the same thing. All a disgrace, total disgrace. So they're going to keep going on their track because, they're in deep now, right? But I think that when the fallout finally falls, I don't think it's going to work out the way that they want it to. I know they'd never listen to me, but they might, because they're not wise. But they really should listen to people that maybe don't have so many letters after their name, because they tend to be right about everything else they've said. So I would imagine you're being allowed to keep going on with your agenda so that many of you can be gone after for negligence in your leadership roles. Let's wait and find